Hi, Muglets. Today we'll be raising Mika. I think as a support, he's a pretty interesting character. We did some of the farming and raising on stream, so I'll go ahead and roll that. We can start to maybe see if we can raise him though. I think I have a good amount of the Ascension material. There might be some stuff we have to farm, but I guess we could do that also. Oh yeah, we gotta get some wolf hooks. Those are pretty easy though. They're all in like one area. Level 40, level 50. We probably need to go get some wolf hooks already. Yes, indeedo. I hate this thing. Oh my god, he has like 1 HP. Just die, dude. Artifact. Trash. So, wolf hooks. Wolvendom. Only 33 wolf hook? Really? Damn. Beep. So we're back. What else do we have to do? We should actually not be too far off, honestly. Yeah, just one jade fragment for the 3rd star, one visit to the crafting station later, and we can get him up there, and level 60. We also have everything for 70 besides the chunks. Could get 5 chunks from converting, but for the other stuff, we're gonna have to convert lower. And there we go, 70. They have all their talents. They are technically complete as a unit. They just don't necessarily have all the raw stats. But yeah, let's go ahead and do this talent and constellation overview now. Mika's normal attack is pretty unique, but I doubt it's going to be used very much. He attacks with both his spear and crossbow. The crossbow gives him a little bit extra reach. Again, I don't feel like it's going to be a very useful thing regardless, but yeah. His charge attack is similar to a lot of other polearm users. He just dashes forward. His elemental skill, Starfrost Swirl, is basically an attack speed boost for your other teammates. The skill also does deal damage, but I can't imagine it's ever going to be all that impressive. Mainly just looking at the multipliers and the fact he is more of a support and not necessarily a damage dealer. Regardless, it is a very impressive attack speed boost. At base, it's 13% for 12 seconds on a 15-second cooldown, so very high uptime. At max level, so crowned and C5, that attack speed boost goes up to 25%, which is very substantial. And even at level 8, it's still 20%, so definitely not bad. The skill will change whether you tap or hold it. If you tap it, it'll just be a quick little attack. Essentially, you would use this when there's only one enemy around anyway. If you hold it, he'll go into aiming mode. You can lock onto an enemy, and when you fire at them, it'll launch these rim star shards onto a maximum of 3 other opponents. And while the damage won't be all that more impressive when you hold it, but what is important, at least if you're running him with physical DPSs, is his first passive here, Suppressive Barrage, which directly correlates to his skill. This basically adds on a physical damage increase in addition to the attack speed increase that his skill gives. And basically for each enemy hit by his elemental skill, you'll get 10% physical damage up to 3 stacks. It is possible to hit 3 enemies with just his tap because it does pierce enemies, but they would have to be quite close together and more or less in a line. It's much easier to hit 3 enemies when you hold it and go into aiming mode. His burst is a healing skill, a pretty interesting one also. We have a couple healers like Chi-Chi and Barbara that heal the whole party when they themselves are out on the field doing their normal attack after doing their skill. In this case, once Mika does his burst, he'll give a special effect to the entire team where everyone else can be out on the field doing normal attacks and healing themselves instead of the healer having to be on the field doing normal attacks. As far as healing skills go, I think this is a really interesting one. You don't have to waste time, just attacking with a weak unit like Mika will be. He's not going to do a lot of damage regardless. So yeah, when he does his burst, everyone gets this status for 15 seconds. There's a cooldown of 18 seconds. So again, very high uptime. If you can keep him topped up, the 70 energy cost is slightly on the higher side, but it probably won't be a massive deal since you're most likely going to be building him with energy recharge and HP anyway. But yeah, his final passive here happens when your other teammates are affected by both of his buffs, so his E and burst buffs, and then that unit does a critical. When all that comes together, you'll get an extra stack of Detector, which is this 10% physical bonus. It'll also increase the max stack to 4, so up to 40% physical bonus. So in a nutshell, he is an attack speed and physical damage buffer as well as a healer. To use him to his fullest capabilities, he is pretty niche. Otherwise, there are quite a few units that get the majority of their damage from normal attacks and would appreciate attack speed boosts, as well as healing. His C1 is already a little bit complicated, requiring some math, but basically his burst healing has a healing interval of 2.5 seconds here. Depending on the attack speed bonus, again, let's use the example at level 8, it'll be a 20% attack speed bonus. So at C1, you would have 20% less, which would take off this 0.5 here, making the healing interval every 2 seconds rather than 2.5. So something, I guess. I don't think it's a massive deal or anything, but it's something. His C2 is pretty solid, basically making the detector stacks or this 10% physical damage bonus he gives to the rest of the team easier to acquire. Basically with his tap, you'd only need to pierce a total of 3 enemies instead of 4 to get the full 3 stacks. And with his hold, the initial enemy you lock onto and target will also gain a stack. So there could potentially only need to be 2 enemies there in total in that case, although again, it is a little bit confusing. C4 is some supplementary energy healing, up to 15 energy over the course of a burst. Not bad, I guess, using it to its full potential. His burst basically comes down to a 55 energy burst instead of a 70, so should be much easier to sustain. And yes, of course, C6 is by far the most impressive one. Not only do you get an extra detector stack, so another 10% physical damage bonus at max, but also all the active characters affected by Soul Wind or his elemental skill will deal 60% more physical crit damage, definitely placing Mika even more firmly suited purely to physical teams. But all right, before we move on to the showcase, we actually need to level up his talents. Unfortunately, I accidentally fused all of these, so but it is open today, which is nice. Shouldn't need to do too many runs, honestly. I hate this place so much. Yeah, we have 38 purples. We won't need to farm any for God mode, so that's something, I guess. Beep, 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 beep. So that was 5 condensed, especially because of the current circumstance. I'm probably gonna leave his basic alone. I mean, I would like anyway, but if I had a bunch of extra books lying around, then maybe I would raise it just for fun to see like what he can do at a normal skill level, but I can't imagine it's going to ever be anything very impressive. So there we go. A raised Mika, talents at 6. We could get his Skyfeather song up further, but I kind of didn't want to get him all the way up to C3 anyway, so that's just kind of compensating for that. I would put a bigger emphasis on his E anyway, as that's what gives the more and more attack speed boost. And I think overall, before C6, that's like the main thing he can do. As for weapon, again, I feel like he's just going to be another one of those low damage supports like Yunjin and Goro. So Favonius is always a safe and good choice for units like this. Otherwise, if you have a bunch of Staff of Homas lying around, I mean, it would increase his HP, which is the thing that scales off healing. But yeah, I think for now we're just going to give him Favonius. I think that's just a solid spear. As for artifacts, we're mainly just trying to bump his HP up because that's like the only thing he scales with. As for more offensive stuff, I just really don't see the point. Maybe at level 90, and if you really decide to give him a Staff of Homa, then you could build him with a bunch of HP and also crit damage and cryo for some reason. I might give him a crit rate circlet because of Favonius. Depends on the substats we get here. As for set, I would say most likely Oblige. If you really want to gear him more towards a healer, you can give him 4-piece Maiden or 2-piece Maiden, 2-piece Clam. But I'd much rather focus on his offensive support capabilities, and the healing will be more supplementary. Kind of want to raise this flower, even though I'm probably not going to give it to him. I don't really want to steal Benny's, and the other one I have has no crit rate on it. And none of the flowers I have any HP, so this is pretty much the best I can get. So 7% crit rate, that's already good for Favonius procs. Plus, this could be potentially an insane flower for someone else also at one point. Energy recharge is good. Crit damage, obviously not very useful for Mika in particular, but maybe someone else. And more energy recharge, so yeah. Just gonna give that to him for now. Probably just gonna try and get a decent amount of crit rate on subs, honestly. This is unfortunately the only HP obliged stands I have, so we have no choice really. I guess it doesn't matter that much, but still hurts. His burst will still be somewhat important even if you don't care about him as a healer. It is required to get that extra stack of physical damage bonus. How it rolled, does it really matter? So even going triple HP, he's only at 30k. It does make some sense considering he's level 70. He's a 4-star. 32 crit rate should be enough for Favonius. Hopefully 166 energy recharge will be enough to consistently keep his burst. Probably it will be at C4 because he gives himself some energy back. So I'd say we're pretty much ready for the little showcase now, and it's going to be a little weird. Truth be told, Mika is not all that great before C6. He can still give a pretty substantial attack speed boost, 18% currently. Again, going up to 25% attack speed boost, which I think that could be the highest attack speed boost in the game. I know the other main like attack speed booster is C6 Yunjin, and that's 12%. Yunjin, of course, also boosts the power of normal attacks, so it's not really fair to, you know, say that, oh, he has double attack speed boost, much better. My Scar is not all that good still, but what I kind of want to just start with is focusing on Mika's attack speed boost and seeing how fast we can get this boy to attack, because he also gives himself attack speed boosts on Bell as well as the artifact set. And then we could have Yunjin and Mika. I think that'd just be a pretty funny little use case, showcase sort of deal. I honestly kind of forgot if there's other characters that give attack speed boosts or not. We do have a lot of characters in the meantime, and typically attack speed boosts aren't the core kit of anyone. Like in Yunjin's case, it's hidden behind C6. In Scar's case, it's on his weapon and artifact set, so it's not even a, part of his kit. So there could be definitely something I'm missing here, but there's not really room for much else anyway. Even before C6, Mika does give up to 40% physical damage bonus as well. So he'd still be more suited to a physical team than Scara DPS. So I want to see how quickly he attacks without any attack speed boost. I did have to unequip his bell, as you can see, because that just gives him one inherently. But yeah, I mean, like he still attacks pretty fast, honestly. All right, let's try all attack speed boost now. We got to start with a charge attack to get his artifact set. And yeah, I can tell already that is quite a bit faster. Geez. But yeah, as far as physical teams go, now that I'm really thinking about it, it is unfortunate that it really depends on how many enemies you're fighting. To get the full stacks, assuming you're at least C2, you will always need to have at least 3 enemies there. Because even at C2, and when you hold it, it's true that the first strike will give you a stack, but the shards that explode from that attack will never go to the enemy you initially target. We can see that here. Yeah, nothing even happened because there were no other enemies for those, explosions to go to. So in most of the hardest stuff, single bosses in Abyss, etc., outside of the extra stack you can get when you have Burst and E active and someone else criticals, the most he's going to give against a single target's 20% physical damage, which isn't nothing, I guess, but I mean, there are definitely hard floors in Abyss with multiple enemies like Consecrated Beasts or Triple Kinkies or whatever, but yeah, more often than not, the hardest floors are bosses. So I'm not really going to explore physical teams in this video, going to save that for God mode, which should be coming out after this one anyway. As usual, raising modes are more just to learn about the character's kit and all that. One thing he can still do perfectly well before C6 is healing, so I want to take a slightly closer look at that as well. I saw it a bit while doing the talent and constellation overview, but since he is C1, the interval is slightly lower from like 2.5 to 2.1 seconds currently. That might go down to like 1.8 seconds at max. I will also say it is a little unfortunate that there is an interval there. I mean, it's good for like slow attacking units like Eula, and arguably that will be Mika's best partner anyway. Even so, I mean, especially considering he gives an attack speed boost, I would have preferred it to just be every attack and maybe just lower scaling. All right, but now that everyone is sufficiently hurt, we can go ahead and take a look at his healing. Let's just do the E first. And there is some burst healing to start. Healed decently well, honestly, but then we go and do some basics with our Wanderer, and we can see his healing of 1400 every a little over 2 seconds or something. So he got healed up pretty much fully now. He's obviously not the best healer ever, so I would mostly consider it as supplementary healing. I'd say it's good enough if you can avoid getting hit all the time, but of course, more importantly are the damage buffs and attack speed buffs he can provide, especially at C6. So all in all, I'd say before C6, he can still be used all right in physical teams. Granted, you're not fighting a single enemy like a boss. Up to 40% physical damage bonus and 20% attack speed at level 8. Those are some very solid buffs already. So in ideal conditions, I'd say he still could be a good physical support. Obviously at C6, he is a guaranteed shoe-in in every physical focused team. 50% physical damage bonus at that point, 60% physical crit damage, and 20 to 25% attack speed. For now, I guess those are my thoughts on Mika. I wish he could provide more physical damage bonus without the need for at least 3 enemies, but it is what it is. That's kind of my main gripe at the moment. I'm used to 4-star supports in the meantime not being that good until C6, like Yunjin, Sara, Faruzan, Goro. Until then though, make sure to tell me what you think in the comments down below. Dropping a like or subscribing if you enjoyed is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.